everybody, it's Madam Morbid here. I just wanted to take a minute and tell you my ghost story. I mentioned it in an earlier video. This is not going to be a paranormal channel. I don't mind a good ghost story. If I find one, I might include it, but that's not what this channel is about. I've always been fascinated by ghost stories. And I think it was my love of history that really did that, because it was just the thought of being able to communicate with people who aren't here anymore is really fascinating to me. It was never something that I was seeking out, though. And when something did happen to me, I wasn't looking for it at all. This happened in about 2016. I'm going to say March. It happened to me at a Route 66 conference. I was a part of a group of archivists and museum curators who were working on saving Route 66 history, whether it be my part of it, obviously, would have been photographs, archival materials. And we always had it somewhere on Route 66. That particular year was in New Mexico. The first one I went to was actually here in Springfield. This is known as the birthplace of Route 66, and if you haven't figured it out, that's where I live. I won't always be doing things in Springfield. As I run out of things, I will be going further out. But for now, things that are close are convenient, for obvious reasons. So it was really exciting to get to travel somewhere else. So that second year, we went to Albuquerque. And they put us up in this hotel, Hotel Andaluz. And I'm probably saying that wrong. I remember at the time thinking, how do you say this? And I was always afraid to say it to anybody because I knew I would say it wrong. The hotel was built in the 30s. And it was a Hilton, one of the first hotels that Conrad Hilton ever had. It's about a 12-hour drive from here to Albuquerque, and my husband went with me, so someone else witnessed this other than myself. And he did most of the driving. Despite all of that, by the time we got at the end, my back was killing me. I have a lot of lower back problems. The older I get, the worse it is. Don't get old, it sucks. So we finally got there. I literally could not wait to get out of that car. But it was definitely after dark. I think we got there around 7:30. And it was dark by the time we got there. So we got checked in. We went up to our room. I was dragging a rolling suitcase. I know my husband used the key and went in the room. I wish I could tell you what our room number was. I have no idea. I don't even remember what floor we were on. We definitely had to take the elevator to get to it. I would say it was either 4 or up. From what I've read since this happened, the hotel tends to have activity on 2, 4, and 7. So I have to assume we were either on 4 or 7, but I cannot tell you for sure. So my husband went in the room. He was ahead of me. He went all the way in. He didn't turn the lights on or anything. So I come in behind him, and I'm looking for the light switch. And I can't seem to find it anywhere. I mean, I am doing hands on the wall, running my hands along, looking for the light switch, and I'm starting to get aggravated. And eventually, after just struggling with this, I said, "Where the F is the light switch?" And the lights came on by themselves. At this point, I'm standing in front of the bathroom, the open door of the bathroom. The door to get in is on my left. I had been feeling along the wall in front of me, next to the bathroom door. and not finding anything. So the lights come on, and I'm kind of speechless. My husband is standing. It was one of those rooms that had the 2 double beds. For whatever reason, I guess we couldn't get a king. And so, we just adopted one of them. But he was standing between the beds, like at the foot of the bed. He wasn't anywhere near any kind of light switch or anything. Lamp. It took me several minutes after the lights came on to finally find the light switch. It was actually behind me, on the wall behind me, so that when you open the door, the light switch would have been behind the door. Now, I did let the door close, but it didn't make sense to me for the light switch to be on that wall, so I was looking on the other one. To this, I have no explanation for this. And I've told this story before, and sometimes people are extremely rude. They're like, oh, you must have been on drugs. Oh, you were hallucinating. Oh, you must have been drunk. It wasn't any of those things. I was tired, but I wasn't tired enough to imagine that the lights came on by themselves, and my husband was there too. He saw it too. So pretty much if anyone tells me they don't believe in any of this stuff, I'm like, well, you know what? I do, because it happened to me. And there is no logical explanation for that. And it wasn't, I've heard someone talk about people only see things because they're in grief and they're having grief hallucinations. Well, I wasn't grieving anybody. No one I knew had died. I wasn't upset about anything. I wasn't having hallucinations. I didn't see anything. The lights came on by themselves, and it was a flip switch. It wasn't one of those clap on, clap off. It wasn't, oh, walk in front of it, it'll turn on. No, it was an old hotel with an old-fashioned, you gotta put your finger underneath it and flip it to turn it on. And I remember we had kind of a thing. At first, I didn't really think too much of it. I thought there's got to be something. A lot of places were starting to get the sensor lights where it sensed you moving. And I went downstairs and I was talking to everybody because we had an event that night, just kind of a meet and greet, have appetizers, nothing. It was all social. We weren't doing any business. It was just, hey, how you doing? Haven't seen you in a year. And I mentioned what had happened to me. And I said, well, surely it's a sensor light or something. And everybody just looked at me pretty much saying, no, it's not anything like that. That was weird. I remember me and my husband, we got back up to the room and we just kind of looked around in the room and said, thank you, I guess, because it really did help me out. It did. And I never felt anything bad. Never felt any kind of negative energy whatsoever in that room. And I just always kind of assumed, I have no reason to think this other than I just think it. I feel like it was a man, and I think he used to work there. Now, I don't want to keep doing my job after I die, but maybe that's all he had, or it's just speculation. That's just kind of the feeling I got. I definitely felt like whoever this was at some point worked in that hotel. So that's my ghost story. I'm including photos I took. I don't think I took any of the outside. I probably can find some online. But I definitely took quite a few on the interior. It's a really beautiful hotel. I honestly think when you really want to have experiences, it's better if you're not looking for it. I feel like if you're trying to force it to happen, it's probably not. And this was just somebody who helped me out. I really appreciated it. I'm glad I had that experience. It certainly was probably the craziest and most amazing thing that's ever happened to me. So, everybody, take care. If you have any cool stories to share, feel free to pop them in the comments. If you're going to Albuquerque, it's a fabulous hotel, Hotel Andaluz. I think it had been empty a while before we stayed there. It reopened, I want to say around 2009, and I was there in 2016. So, really, really cool hotel. I will see you all later. Have a good one.